Deputy McNamara, you've about 12 minutes.
Cahirirlach. I dús mar bhálam mo chláirdeachas go bháil ar an teachta McCarthy as an bille útachas mar a tiosníoch. Bhálam freisin ar bhálam ein tíim leis na Urlauri Frasura as an bhéim a chuirsiad ar an tábhachtach idir go bháil go luan ó early intervention. Cáin an teachta McClellan an tíreachtas íana fáil as an bhéad a rinne siad nó nachhearna siad chun cabhrú leis daoine faoi bhícuma go háirithe daltaí faoi bhícuma. Chun na fíorna rá bhí ionad útachas nó ASD unit tawa acu I álehan I níorthar an chlár agus I Kilrush agus in Ainach I dúscart an chlár. They also, in fairness to the previous government, had an ASD unit built in East Clare in Broadford to serve the pupils of East Clare. What was clearly lacking in Clare with regards to facilities for children with autism was a unit in West Clare. After leaving primary school, where, as I said, there were units in both Ina and in Kilrush, but once children passed that stage, they had to travel to Ennis to receive an education commensurate to their needs. In many instances, that was a 70-mile round trip, which had to be undergone in taxis. I'm pleased to say that that lack of service for West Clare is being addressed by this government with the construction of an ASD, a specific ASD unit in Spanish Point, which will facilitate pupils from across the western side of Clare to complement what was already in place, as I said, at the time of the last election. That unit was initially sanctioned, or rather expenditure to the tune of €240,000 was initially sanctioned for that. That amount has now been increased to 500,000, and I appreciate that might not be fully sufficient given the needs to ensure that a unit is A, state-of-the-art, and B, that it is fully integrated so that we don't have a ghettoisation of children with autism within a secondary school, that they can participate as fully as possible, in a full education and in a school community. There isn't, as I think is very evident here today, notwithstanding what was claimed by the opposition, there isn't a difference of approach between the two parties in government on this issue. Minister Quinn happens to hold the portfolio of education, and in that regard, as I say, advances are being made to provide autism facilities and services for children with autism. He, as already been alluded to, is requesting that the services available to special needs children be re-examined for the first time in a considerable period of time. But, having addressed the needs of children, we now need to ensure that when those children come through our primary schools, the ASD units which are being constructed, and they come through our secondary schools and the ASD units that are being constructed in those secondary schools, that they don't fall off a cliff. And that is what this bill is about. To ensure that there is a provision of services which continues into adulthood, and that a strategy is developed to provide that. In particular, I would commend section 3(1)(b) of the bill, which provides that a strategy shall outline how the needs of adults with autism can be met by service providers in terms of accessibility to services, employment and social inclusion. I think it was Deputy McGrath had mentioned this whole charity syndrome, which seems to pervade much of the Irish social system, that the solution up to now, and not just by the very last government, but governments over years, has been to throw money at a problem. And the more money you throw at it, the more you can salve your conscience with regard to the fact that in reality the state is doing nothing. The state isn't empowering people. We need, and I suppose we have to, in a way, move away from throwing money at a problem, because we don't have money to throw at a problem, but we can concentrate on actually empowering people and bringing about strategies and ensuring that state agencies are actually geared towards empowering people and vindicating people's rights, their rights to participate in the workforce, their rights of children to receive an education, and the right to lead a meaningful life as a member of a community. You know, we moved away from, a long time ago, from the hospitalisation and institutionalisation of people, not nearly as quickly as we should have done, but we moved away from that. But now I think we have people who are no longer institutionalised, but nor are they fully participating in society, nor are they being facilitated to fully participate in society. And we now need to take that next step, and that's very much what this bill is about, the strategies which will arise out of this bill. And it's for that reason that I warmly congratulate Deputy McCarthy and indeed the Minister's response to the bill and to commend the bill to the House.